play. I'm sorry I had to stop and start over because one of my callers stated that I had frozen. So if you guys could tell me if it has frozen, I'll make sure I do a refresh or something like that. Okay, so we've started again. I apologize. Hello, Carlin. Hi, CT Cover. I'm very sorry. I started over because it seems to have frozen. So hopefully it's all running well. Thank you. Yeah, give me a heads up if you know that it's frozen or anything is stopped, okay? So, and I'll try my best to refresh it. Hello, Andra. How are you? So, today, like I said, we're talking about social distancing and relationships. And I've stated before, building healthy relationships is about having a cheerful and uplifting interaction with others. This can be hard, I know, during this time because we are uncertain about many things and we're anxious about many things. And all of these things basically are founded or grounded in the social distancing. You're being forced, basically. Hi, Avanel. You're being forced to separate from the ones that you love. So it makes it even more important right now for you to assess and reflect upon your current relationships with your children, with your family, your partners, spouses, as well as your friends. Okay? So, first, I want you guys to know that you might right now discover that you're finding better ways and stronger ways of resolving conflicts. Now, don't lie to me because I know many of you, hi Sherma, thank you for coming back in. I know that many of you are getting into some little sticky fights. And I know some of these fights are probably about a messy kitchen and maybe a messy bed. You know, some of us, our parents want us to make our beds every single day. And you're like, why do I make it if I'm going to get right back into it? But yes. And so, with all of you under one roof for such a long time, and none of you have any breaks right now, so it's expected that you're going to have some conflicts, right? Now, individuals who are in healthy relationships, they pretty much are able to ride through some of these conflicts in a hopefully intelligent way. But then we remember that if you don't have a lot of respect for people and you're getting into all of these disagreements every so often, then it's going to be difficult sometimes for you to get over some of those moments of crisis. So I need you guys to recognize you have several personalities going on inside of your home, and be it your friends, your family, or your spouses and your partner, that you are going to get on each other's nerves. And some of you are going to recognize that you're releasing some of these deeply buried resentments. How many of you are finding that you are possibly, even though you're level headed, you might be saying some things that were better left unsaid? Because you don't have the freedom to get out and be out and about the way you want to, you might find yourself getting overwhelmed, a little bit nervous, and of course, afraid. And you're likely to take this out on somebody else. I know some of y'all recognize what I'm saying, so I'm waiting to see in the chat area if you're going to confirm some of the things that I've said. Some of you are also going to realize that you've been holding grudges, and this social distancing, it'll threaten your relationship if your relationship is already fragile. Okay, so remember, being all up underneath each other is going to create real friction. You're going to have all those short tempers. You're going to be saying things you can't take back. Okay, so if before the pandemic, making plenty essential trips to the grocery store. Yes, those are some of the things that one person may be doing in the home, and you may be taking that for granted. So I need you to remember, when you're doing these things and you're aggravated or frustrated about it, please recognize that maybe you need to take turns, right? CT cover, somebody else might need to do it at some times, right? So remember, if before this pandemic, you guys had several distractions. You were able to do many things, like CT Cover said. You were able to go to the grocery store for essentials. You were able to go liming with your buddies. But now you're faced with being in the house with these conflicts and with these issues, and you're face to face with it, so you have to deal with it. you know all of a sudden you're recognizing that you're becoming a little bit bored, um because you're doing the same thing day in and day out. Those of you who are working from home, who are taking care of the kids, all of a sudden it's like, wake up, do work, take care of the kids, eat, sleep, wake up, and repeat, repeat, repeat. So you're constantly doing the same thing over and over again. In this social isolation, it's very normal for you to have some level of boredom. But what is not okay is for you to take that out on another person, be it your children, be it your spouse, your partner, your family members, your friends. They are not a punching bag. And I do not expect you to take out your discomfort on others. Okay? So if you don't want to create this tension built environment, you're going to have to find a way to alleviate it. So I would say to some of you, maybe creating a tentative schedule of some fun. Okay. You might want to create a plan together about balancing the wellness, having times to go take baths, having times by yourself, or not, having times to, let's see, that is why we take essential trips. Exactly. So you can have those moments and those breaks. But even the essential trips, after a while, CT cover, start to become a little bit boring. And so you want to try to put different things within the home that you guys are able to do together. My daughter and I have started cooking together. We may look at a recipe together. She might do it and I might just be watching. Sometimes she'll kick me out and saying, okay, mom, I can do this myself. Fine. I have no issues with that. Also, you can start creating projects together. Like I said, we are doing our closet. And we're going to be renovating the bedrooms. You have different projects that you'll be doing together. The only thing that I do is usually supervise. I don't really cut any wood or anything like that. I leave that up to my husband. Also, please remember to plan some date nights for those of you who are with your spouses or your partners. It can become extremely boring if you don't change it up a little bit. Okay? The next thing that I notice that many people are finding is that they are having to have some conversations about the roles, or the different roles each person takes in the relationship, and possible imbalance of the roles. So many of us are working from home, myself included, and sometimes you get into the routine of doing the different things that you're expected to do at home or at work. But what ends up happening is sometimes there's one person who is like, well, you're the one who always cleans the house, or you're the one who always cooks. So they kind of someone starts expecting the other person to be doing this all the time, like 100% of the time. And there becomes resentment starts to build. Okay. I'm making sure I'm checking the chat. Okay, nobody's put anything. And one partner or one individual expect the other to do everything. Some children expect their parents to be doing everything because they're not accustomed to being at home during the day. They're at school. So they don't realize all of the different things that go into keeping a house. And so conversations have to be had, calm, reasonable conversations about things that we need to share, so that we need to examine how you and the people in your home are sharing the roles overall, and especially even between you and your partner. If children are not involved, how are the roles shared between the two of you? Okay. Social distancing can also help you realize or notice that your relationship lacks some depth. Um, so this may be for mostly the people who are couples, or who are in intimate relationship with partners or spouses. And you may find that there were some issues that existed in your relationship before social distancing actually started. And social distancing kind of made the situation worse or a lot bigger because of the stress, how stressful it is, right? And everything else that's currently happening, how stressful it is. So many of you before the pandemic were avoiding some of these red flags. Some of you would be like, oh, we just hop into bed, be intimate, and just ignore, some of the flags that are popping up within our relationship. And once that physical part of your relationship fizzles out, which eventually it will, during this time, you might find that there isn't enough of a connection between the two of you for you to maintain a healthy relationship. Healthy relationships, you're supposed to have an emotional connection, an intellectual connection. You guys are supposed to have similar values and, laugh together. Even if the other person's jokes aren't funny, you still find it funny because you have similar sense of humor. Okay? So if you're finding out that the dynamic between the two of you are not the same and neither one of you are willing to give up your beliefs or you might realize that, what I want is what I want, and I don't care what you want, and vice versa. Both of you are kind of steadfast, and you're like, sorry, I'm not budging. Then it may be that you might realize that it might be time to part ways. And I know for some of you, that is not going to be a wonderful situation to be in, but I will stress to you that it's better for you to part ways and be happy in the sense of by yourself as an individual than for you to be in a relationship and miserable. It doesn't make sense that that happens. Now, we're not able to obviously do these things. We can't divorce our children. And many times you'll be like, I can't divorce my family members. So, in those situations, you may find that you have to have those deep conversations that are necessary to have. So, next, Sherma says she keeps losing me. Is anybody losing me? Can you tell me if you're losing me? Am I still here? Okay. Sherma just said she keeps losing me, so I'm trying my best to make sure we're still together. Please send me like thumbs up or hearts if you are still able to hear me. Okay? So, now, social distancing is not all bad. Some of you may develop a closer relationship because of the conversations that you are having. No, you're fine. Okay, thank you, CT Cover. At least here. All right, thank you. So, when partners are friends, and partners, like I said, are either boyfriend, girlfriend, people who are married together, whatever. When they are friends, you'll find that it's more easily aligned that you're part of a team. Okay, and so during these times of difficulty with this virus, you're going to find that it's easier for you to communicate. Ian says sometimes it stops, but it seems to pick up where it stopped. Okay, okay, thank you. So, friendship is something that I need you guys to recognize should have been built even before the love falls into a relationship. With couples, you hope that you are going to be friends first because it deepens your intimacy. And a strong friendship helps you to bond through hard times, through hard conversations, and especially when people have to make vulnerable confessions. During this time and these deep conversations, you may hear some things from your children and from your family that you didn't know before. Please give each other the benefit of the doubt. These conversations are challenging, I know they are, but they can change your relationship, sometimes for the better. I hope not for the worst, but we hope that it will change it for the better. Social distancing does have a positive side to it where it gets you to dig a little bit deeper and find the depth within your relationship. And this could be, like I said, the depth within your relationship with your children, with your siblings, with your parents, as well as your partners. Another thing that I found out, that as I have had more time to have meaningful relationships with my partner, my spouse, um, as well as with my child, my daughter. I found that in the beginning of the relationship, there was that honeymoon period. The honeymoon period is not just for relationships that you have intimacy with. There's a honeymoon period in every single relationship where things are going fabulous. You guys could talk for hours on the phone. You don't want to go to sleep. You have one thing after another. With my friends, I would have talked to them all day at school, and then I want to get on the phone again at night and talk to them some more. My mom used to be like, "How much do you guys have to talk about? So much." Hi, Keith. How are you? Hope Georgia's treating you well, babe. So, also, you'll find that as your relationship progresses, the responsibilities with that relationship also progresses. You guys will start talking about good things, you'll start talking about bad things, and you'll start talking about things that are a little bit ugly and not very nice. Um, I want you to take advantage of this time that you have together, since both of you are not as busy, that you give each other a chance to have these in depth discussions about yourselves, about each other. Because there are things that may have happened in your past that you've never shared with your family, that you've never shared with your partners, that you want to share now. You may have some goals that you would like them to know that you're still, hoping would be attained and would come true. You guys might have to talk about reworking the budget, because you know what? We're in some serious financial, you know, depression for some people. There are some serious financial challenges that many people are going through. So, in saying that, you may have to talk and have those discussions about those challenging situations. There are going to be sacrifices that you are going to have to make as a family. So you have to have those discussions to have those actually challenging conversations. And I would say that social distancing has given you that extra time for you to have those conversations. Social distancing has also helped me to appreciate my loved ones, and I hope it gives you the perfect opportunities to appreciate your loved ones. So, in this time where everything is out of control, and you're like, wow, I don't know, where is there a safe place to go? Yes, there is a safe place to go. In the arms of my child, in the arms of my spouse, just being in the room with them is a safe place, for me. And I'm reassured and I'm comforted knowing that they're there, knowing that they got my back. So through this whole crazy ordeal, I find myself looking at them and counting myself lucky. Seriously. And I hope when many of you are looking, social distancing has removed all blockers and buffers. Amen. Yes, CT cover, it has. And I hope when all of you are looking at your loved ones that you're recognizing, wow, I like that person. And there's a trait of why I like that person or why I love that person. You start seeing the things that you saw in that individual when your feelings for them grew, when you chose to be friends with that person. What were the positive things about that individual that created that bond and that connection for all of you within your friend network? So you begin to appreciate that you guys balance each other, you know? Ian and I balance each other. And especially in some of these stressful circumstances, I feel comfortable, sharing my burdens with him. I feel comfortable sharing my burdens, some of my burdens, with Carrington. Not all of them. There are appropriate burdens that you would share with your children. And with the ones that you can't share with your kids, you share with your other loved ones, your other family members who are age appropriate to handle some of those burdens. And it helps me to manage my anxiety, and it helps me to manage my strength. And I don't know about you, but it's been making me stronger. And I'm hoping that it's also been making the people around me stronger as well. I have also found that I have fallen in love all over again. I've fallen in love all over again with my daughter. I'm not going to lie. I am seeing sides of her strength and her maturity that I have never seen before. I am falling in love again with my husband. I still love him and I love him even more. But there is more and more silver linings that we are finding together with social distancing that I'm hoping that you guys are able to look for and find, discover, explore within your own families and within your own relationships with your children, your grandchildren. So, this is an opportunity for you to remember all the reasons that you fell in love with these people in the first place. And perhaps discover new reasons why you love them. So, social distancing, I've discovered, sets the stage to develop a deeper, more profound connection that's based on honesty and intention. And for many of us, that's something that's difficult to do because when we're honest, we're vulnerable. And you have to trust that this person isn't going to use your honesty to hurt you in any way. You have to trust that this is going to develop and grow into something much better, for all of you in your home. And so you need to know that in this self evaluation, you know, you have to communicate with each other as positively as possible so that you guys can discover new things that will help your relationship evolve. Now, I know we only have like about a few more minutes, but I want you guys to know I can hear you. Okay, so when I'm asking you to repeat these things, I want you to please repeat them. Please continue to share your comments in the chat as well. Sorry. So I want you to remember that I want you to remember that you're not alone. And I want you to start off with I will be positive. I can't hear you. I will be positive. I'm asking you to be positive because finding ways to be positive with those that you love and care about can bring joy into somebody else's otherwise very stressful day. So I will be positive. The next thing I want you to promise to do is that you will be open. So you're going to say, I will be open. I will be open. Because when I'm open with others, by discussing the relationship, by sharing with them, by self-disclosing with my family and my friends, things that may upset me, hurt me, frustrate me. And I'm doing this via chat video because I want them to see my facial expressions. I want them to catch the cues that I am sending out to them for them to recognize when I'm actively listening to them that I want it reciprocated in kind. So I'm going to be open. I will be open. I will give assurances. I know for many of you this is difficult, but I will give assurances. I promise to give assurances because assuring my friends and my family and every other person that I love tells them that I care about them. Hi, Sherry Ann. Nice to see you. Shares with them that I love them, I care about them, and I consider our relationship to be meaningful. Assurances are important, guys, because not everybody knows how you feel about them. And, you might say, well, I say it all the time. Maybe they didn't hear you. Maybe the way you're saying it isn't their language of love. So say the words sometimes. Just showing them sometimes isn't enough. Hearing somebody say, I love you. I look forward to my daughter coming into the room and like, hi, mommy, and poking me. And I'll say, I love you, honey. And she says, I love you too. And we give each other a big hug. I look forward to my husband just for no apparent reason whatsoever. Will come in to the room while I'm working and be like, psst, I love you. And I'm like, damn, I love you too. It feels good. I know he loves me, but he doesn't take it for granted that I know that he loves me. I need you guys not to take for granted that your friends and your family know how you feel about them. So I want you to, that's Cuddles. Hi, Pam. So I want you guys to share what it is that's working for you in maintaining your relationships. Because remember, everyone in your relationship can benefit. Share with your family and friends. Girl, if my sister calls and says, "Okay, I'm having a really hard time with my partner. I'm having a really hard time. I don't know how to talk to her." Well, guess what? This is how you talk to her. Or this is what works for me. Maybe it might work for you, or just listen because maybe that's all she needs you to do or he needs you to do. So share with them the different things that you guys do to help grow and is help your relationship evolve. Remember, we don't want anyone to feel like one person is receiving more than the other. We don't want anyone to feel as though they are being taken for granted, excuse me. And we don't want any resentment or guilt to be present in your relationship. So please recognize that the individuals that you are sharing your social distancing environment with love you, and recognize that you need to show them that you love them as well. Recognize that the relationship has to be balanced, it has to be fair. You cannot take people for granted. It only creates a tension burdened or tension ridden environment that creates more conflict. So please try your best to recognize, appreciate, um, and show them how much you love them. As we come to an end of today's Come Sit and Chat with Dr. Clay, I want to remind you to continue to wash your hands with soap and water. Also, use your hand sanitizer if you need to, because I know sometimes I may have touched my face or anything like that. If I blew my nose or something with a tissue, if I can't wash my hands, I'll use the hand sanitizer. Please wear your mask when needed. When you go outside, when you're exposed to individuals that you do not know. And even though I know it's difficult at this time, please continue to practice social distancing. I want you guys to know that you're always in my heart. You're constantly in my prayers. I want you to recognize that you are not alone. And if any of you are interested in connecting with our private support group for COVID-19, I would ask you to please private message me and I will send you the Zoom room code so that you can get into it. We will be conducting the group every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So I want you guys to recognize this. I'm having problems with outside people. I'm enjoying my spouse. My extended relative are complaining. Oh, I understand how that is because, again, they're not accustomed to maybe not being in your the forefront of your mind and having all of your attention. So sometimes we may have to balance that. We don't want to give everybody one person one set of attention and everyone else is ignored. So, Hippie, I would love to talk to you privately a little bit more about that. And we can discuss some strategies that will help your friends and family not feel as though you've completely just discarded them. Okay? So, again, if you would like to talk about anything more concerning the COVID-19 support group, please do so. Please recognize that you're able to utilize some of the mental health organizations that are available in your own states and in your own nations, in your own countries. And for Trinidad and Tobago is Trinidad and Tobago Association of Psychologists. There is also a hotline available on Higher Potential for Learning Facebook page. Please do not hesitate to visit so that you'll be able to get as many resources as you can. I thank you guys again for coming and sitting and chatting with Dr. Clay. And I will talk to you guys on Friday for our next session. Okay? I'll keep you updated on what the topic is going to be. Have a blessed day. And thank you again. Bye.